goes Samantha Dog.
Thank you so much. Well, welcome to the 10th Annual Supervisors Moronic Idiot Convention. This convention was put together so we can honor all of the moronic decisions that the supervisors tend to make on a daily basis.
Tonight, we are truly honored this year to have the King of the Knuckleheads as our keynote speaker. Yes, that's right, you all know who I'm talking about. He's the sole winner of this award for the last 9 years straight, and yes, he's here in the flesh to give us his insights on the decisions he made 15 years ago that changed his life forever and caused his spiral downward of bad decisions. Now please, help me welcome to the stage tonight's keynote speaker. Now everybody, give it up for Charlie Burgman.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Thank you all. You're all just too kind. Thank you very much. I must say it is truly an honor to be with you here tonight, and I count this as one of my greatest accomplishments to be awarded the Supervisor's Moronic Idiot Award 9 years in a row. And hopefully I can make it a perfect 10 by the end of the night. I always wanted to be called a perfect 10. I just never quite imagined it would be for the Idiot Awards. Now, let me jump straight into it. My life started to spiral downhill about 15 years ago, when I made probably the dumbest mistake of my life. You see, I had the most amazing employee at one time. He was by far the hardest working man, the most dedicated, the best looking, and the smartest employee I had ever had the honor to work with. He was so amazing. Men wanted to be just like him, and women just wanted to have him. Now, his name was Darrell Smith. However, I like to call him Smitty.
Oh, he's so hot. Ooh, baby.
Smitty McGee was such an amazing employee that I would actually get chills down my leg every time he would walk into the room. I'm here to tell you, men would stand up in awe of him, and quite frankly, women just melt and quivered in excitement as he walked by. I'm actually getting a little excited right now just talking about him. Now, on one particular day back in 2000, Smitty McGee was working so diligently as he always did. He was just standing there, minding his own business, when I started to play a little game I like to call Pooper Bowl. Now, Pooper Bowl is a game I created to fulfill my most disgusting and disturbing fetish, in farting in front of other people and forcing them to smell my ham hock and beans. I created a point system to go with the fart game, and the smellier the fart, the better score I would get. My goal was actually to make the other party pass out if possible. Now, well, on this particular day back in 2000, while Smitty McGee was working so hard, I actually just snuck up behind him and I let one rip. I really did. You know, it was probably up to this day, probably my most impressive flatulent of all time. Just after I ripped the flatulent, I saw Miss Smitty McGee's face almost melt off. I watched it first in enjoyment, and then later in horror as I saw Smitty McGee jerk his head, causing his glasses to fall off his face. I watched as Smitty McGee as he tried to run away in desperate flight to save his life. On this particular day, my fart was so powerful and it shot out directly onto Smitty McGee that it seemed to paralyze him as he fell to the ground. I knew things were bad when I saw what appeared to be his lifeless body laying on the ground, twitching in what appeared to be muscle spasms. I had such mixed emotions at this moment. On one hand, I had reached my lifetime goal to kill a man with my flatulence. But on the other hand, Smitty McGee was my best employee, and I was scared if I did not kill him I most likely gave him brain damage with my ham hock flatulent. I was petrified at that moment. Now I started to tremble in fear, and then I saw Smitty McKee slowly open his eyes. I felt so much relief at that moment to know the greatest man alive was not dead. Unfortunately, that particular day defined the rest of my career as a supervisor. Sadly, I continued to make bad decisions, and I could not control my pooper game fetish. On a couple other occasions, I snuck up on Smitty McGee, and I let some of the stinkiest farts known to mankind out on him. Smitty McGee was so freaked out that he told me he was going to leave ball just to get away from me. It was a sad day. Now, when I heard Smitty McGee tell me he was leaving, I knew my life would never be the same again. I began to go downhill at that point. I started to talk to myself, and then I started to argue with myself, and I knew it was real bad when I started to wet the bed. I finally realized there was no turning back when I, for no reason, would walk into a room with a mirror, pull my pants down, bend over, and talk to the starfish on a regular basis. Needless to say, Smitty McGee did leave, and he went on to be a successful officer with many life-saving awards. I, however, have not been the same. I often think back on how my life may have turned out if I would have just promoted Smitty McGee to El Presidente of the Warehouse Control. Well, I guess something good always comes out of every decision. My decision 15 years ago that did actually ruin my life and made Smitty McGee go away. That's the bad news, but the good news is it brought me to this wonderful convention as the moronic, idiotic supervisor of the decade. I thank you for your time, and I'd just like to say thank you, and I want to leave you with one final comment.
Well, that was about disgusting, you dirty little maggot. Now, I'm not sure why we're doing this after that nasty fart you just laid down. But I've been told we have a special guest here tonight to help present this year's Moronic Idiot Supervisors Award. Everyone, please help me welcome the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Smitty McGee.
No way. Is he really here? You better not be joking with me. Now, little buddy. Try to control yourself. I think I'm going to pee myself. I can't believe
I said stop it, you little pathetic excuse for a man. Control yourself. Before I have to open a can of whoop ass on you in front of all these people.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You're all just way too kind. Thank you very much.
Smitty McGee! Oh, I want to have your baby. I love you, Smitty McGee. I love you.
Oh, thank you very much, sweetheart. I love you too. Again, thank you very much for the great welcome. Thank you. Now, I'm not a man of many words, so I'm going to go ahead and keep this short and sweet. Sir Burgman, you are one stinky little man. You know, I've never been the same since you assaulted me with your sphincter back in 2000. But I'm a man who likes to move on and let the past be the past. I don't think much about that day, other than the times when I have this nervous, annoying twitch that came as a result of your smelly assault. But I want to say I am honored that I have the opportunity to hand out the Moronic Idiot Supervisors Award this year. I heard there's a lot of competition this year, but the word is, Sir Burgman, you are hands down the favorite to win it again. Well, without further ado, let's see who this year's winner is. And the winner is...
Really? Really? Did he really just faint in front of all of us? I knew the man had no stamina. Couldn't handle it. I'm so out of here.